It's a contentious race in House District 13 as two Democrats head into the decisive August 20th primary. To tell us why she's here seeking another term, I'm joined by incumbent state representative Angie Nixon. Hi, Angie. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
It
Happy
is
Thursday.
Happy Thursday. We're almost there.
Oh, almost there.
uh, Representative Nixon is also taking your calls and questions. You can reach us on air at 904-549-2937. You can also email firstcoastconnect@wjct.org, or you can tag us on social media. Angie, you were elected in 2020,
hmm
and this would be officially your third term in the Florida House. Why do you think you deserve another term?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm simply running because I'm running to continue to work and fight for a future and a present that we can believe in. The fact that I my office has helped over 1,500, specifically over 1,500 constituents in the areas of helping them with their unemployment assistance, helping hundreds of families get rehoused, especially when some hotels were closed down and they had to leave and had to find housing, helping residents just get connected to services and things that they need. I also have brought money home. There is rumors out there being spread, unfortunately, that I have not been effective, and I think I have been effective. I've brought in $500,000 dollars for mental health services, $500,000 to help with at-risk youth. Also, recently, this past year, worked with Representative Skidmore and Representative Felicia Robinson to work to advocate to get the $10 million in sickle cell funding to help with organizations that are trying to help folks who live with sickle cell. And so I think I'm very effective. My constituents seem to be happy with me and the advocacy and the work that I do in Tallahassee. And not only in Tallahassee, but actually coming home and having boots on the ground as well.
So we spoke to your opponent, former city council member and school board member Brenda Priestly Jackson, on July 31st. She was on this program. And to your point, she did talk critically about your record. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
The role of a legislator, it's a job. It is to advance legislation and receive funding appropriations. And the current occupant of the office, unfortunately, has been very unsuccessful with it. You can't be a voice of dissent to the detriment of those that you're called to serve. You can have tough conversations. You can be an advocate. You can posture. You can protest, but not in the legislature. That's not the role.
So I'll ask you to respond to that. What is the role of a legislator in your mind?
So the role of the legislator is to bring uh, appropriations and to pass bills, all of which I have done, but it is not the only job. It is also to represent the voices of your community. And my community's voices have been marginalized and oftentimes go unheard. It is the role of a legislator to also like advocate, and you do make compromises, but you don't compromise your values. And right now, we have folks in Tallahassee who are in power who are harming and hurting people. The fact that we have educators who can't even afford to live in their own homes with their immediate families because that we have corporations that are basically running the government. Our legislators that are in power in Tallahassee are beholden to corporate interest groups and not the people. And I can't sell out my community. My community didn't send me up there to do that. I'm going to continue to advocate and push back and raise awareness. The fact that Florida has the highest property insurance and car insurance rates in our country is because of who's been in leadership for the past 30 years. Folks oftentimes wouldn't know what's happening in Tallahassee if you don't have this voice of dissent because it's basically pay to play over there.
I want to take a couple calls. We have Stanley on the north side. Good morning, Stanley. Go ahead.
Good morning, ladies. First of all, Miss Angie Nixon is off the chain. She is what a real community leader does. She does the right job. I know this for a fact. I'm in City Hall. I'm with the state Cornell Oliver, who check out everything going on in the state. And I know we know exactly what she is doing. She is right for the community. She worked from the bottom up. And she's in the community when it comes to economics. She does a fantastic job. And the African American Economic Recovery Think Tank stand with Miss Nixon. Thank you.
Thanks, Stanley. I've got a couple more calls I want to get to. Nina in Lakeshore. Good morning, Nina. Go ahead.
Hi. First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to Representative Nixon. I'm one of her constituents. And one of the things that really strikes me about the conversations happening right now is I often just hear Republicans talking about political nonsense, right? That it's just not about my Monday to Friday. And I think most families like me, what we really care about is like, what is the Monday to Friday of what people are working on? And one of the things I'd really love to hear more from Representative Nixon is what are some of the policies you've been fighting for that really affect our community, are going to affect that Monday to Friday? I know you're a mom yourself, and that's my kiddo in the background. What are some of those policies that you're fighting for families like mine?
Yeah, for sure. So, hi, Nina. Thank you for that call, and thanks, Stanley, as well. Um, and so, what I've been fighting for and will continue to fight for, as Nina said, she knows I'm a mom. I'm a mom of 5. I have 2 kids and 3 bonus. And so, been fighting to expand early VPK. To increase it to a full day. It doesn't make any sense for us, for working families, to only have part-time VPK where you drop your kid off and then you get to work and you got to go back and pick them up. That just doesn't make sense. Also, they passed this voucher bill recently, so why not expand that to early childcare and allow parents, working people who want to get back to work, to actually have the opportunity for their children to go to school at a low rate, a free or reduced rate. Also, fighting for working families. We need a Department of Labor. I filed this bill several times. I'm having conversations with Republicans now. There are many folks who get their wages stolen from them, or they have issues at their jobs and they don't know who to report to. So we actually need an active Department of Labor. And those are just a few of the things that I've been fighting for. I will continue to fight. And also, like, I passed legislation, which was actually, it was taken, my legislation, my bill was put into a package that Republicans ran, but it passed. And what it did was it expanded the eligibility of folks who get early child care vouchers, because thankfully we passed the $15 minimum wage a few years ago, but that created what in essence is a financial cliff where people make some more money, but now they don't qualify for certain benefits. And we want to make sure that those children get the education they need early on, so that we aren't scrambling from behind to try to make sure they're on grade level, because we know that education is the greatest equalizer, and it keeps people from a life of crime.
We've got a call from Enrique on the north side. Good morning, Enrique. Go ahead.
Yeah, Angie, I've had the opportunity to work with you, and I think you're a fabulous leader and should continue leading in our district. But one of my primary questions, especially since Ron DeSantis is so adamant about negative about so many issues that affect our community, but one in particular is climate change. We are facing a very disastrous time now, especially with some of these storms, as we can see what happened with this last one. And I want to know what's your take on climate change. Thank you.
Thank you, Enrique, for that question. So, first of all, I believe climate change is real. I know that a lot of my colleagues don't agree. They want to carve out making sure that we cannot talk about climate change in certain policies. And so I think, I've always taken a stance where that I want to co-create with my community and co-govern with my community. And so wanting to work with groups like the Sierra Club, groups like your Florida Risings and your organizations that are working to address the rising temperatures and bringing them to Tallahassee to have those conversations one-on-one with the legislators that are in power. We have to continue to push back. The only way we're going to change things is by having conversations and working to change the hearts and minds, and also putting pressure on those who are in power. Right now, the corporate lobby, like I stated before, they're running Tallahassee, and it's time for the people to rise up and realize their power. Because at the end of the day, everyone wants the same thing. We all want the opportunity to be healthy, to be prosperous, and to be safe. But right now, corporations are running the show, and we have to come and we have to organize our communities to go out and elect people, but then also hold us accountable year round.
We've got a call from Lewis, who lives in District 13. Go ahead, Lewis.
Hey, my question is, I hear what Angie's saying about pushing back and being an advocate, and I truly agree with that. Nevertheless, I'm curious to know from a proactive stance, because House District 13 is varied, it's multitudinous of different neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
So, for what is your vision for the district, and do you have any major projects in mind that will spur economic development?
Yeah, so my vision for the district is that we have better infrastructure, that we bring in more infrastructure into the area so that we can get more businesses wanting to move to the area. The fact that there are still some food insecure areas within our district is a problem. And so we need to work with city, state, and feds to bring in more dollars here to build and better our infrastructure, to bring in businesses. Also working with private companies as well as nonprofits and other groups to really work to try to make our district a lot more safer, right? Also, I look forward, and I have a great working relationship with Councilman Peluso, Johnson, and Clark. We've held town halls, mental health town halls together, providing resources for folks, letting them know about resources that are available to them to help address mental health issues. And I don't know if the gentleman, Lewis, didn't know, but I was a founder of the Melanin Market, and I know they were also a partner of the Deb Store and Lift Jacks. And so working with those groups, working with the JSEB program, I actually had a conversation with Mr. Gregory Grant, and we're going to be hosting workshops throughout the district to get small business owners and connect them to the program, and actually learning oftentimes how to legitimize their businesses. For so many people, they start a small business out of desperation, and so they don't have everything right. And so wanting to help them legitimize their businesses and then connecting them again just to resources. And like I said before, being a state rep is not just about legislation and appropriations. That is a major part of the job. But you also have to talk to people. You have to go into communities. You have to have uncomfortable conversations. And that's something that I have always done before I became a legislator. It's something that I'm doing now, and it's something that I'll continue after.
We have a call from Yasmina in Arlington. Good morning. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. My question for Angie is, we hear a lot about vote for me, vote for me. People get in office, we never hear from them again. Share how you work tirelessly with your community on a daily basis, which I think you've kind of touched on this. In addition to that, how do you build relationships with all constituents in every corner of Jacksonville? And I also want to mention that you are extremely relatable to different levels of age groups, and that's very important in terms of people knowing who you are and who to vote for, how to vote, and making informed decisions. Thank you for all you do.
For sure. Thanks, Yasmina. So, I'm tired. um, I getting a little teary. I really love my district. I love my community so much. Oftentimes to the detriment, I would say, of my family a little bit. My daughter's always like, Mom, like, can I get a little bit of time? And, I bring her along often. And so I created a House District 13 advisory committee where different folks from all walks of life, all located throughout the district, and not just the district, but in Jacksonville as well, had them apply. And we work together. Like, they also, research and come up with bills. They've proposed bills that I've actually ran. And I want to continue to do that. Like, I should not, what people don't know, like, we deserve so much more than what we've been getting. And we have to hold leadership accountable. We deserve to just be safe. We deserve to experience joy. We deserve to have educators that get paid, that aren't being attacked. We deserve to be able to afford to live in a home, to be able to walk through our streets safely. And I think it's really important for us to learn to talk to each other, like, to just stop all the rhetoric. And I'm really crying right now because I'm really hurt about the fact that we have to commemorate at the end of the month the brutal execution of 3 people in my district that were taken out by a white domestic terrorist who was a white supremacist. And he was emboldened by the hateful, harmful rhetoric that came out of Tallahassee by many of those in leadership who should have been working on legislation to make sure that we don't have high property taxes, that people can afford their rent, that our children are being educated the way that they should be. And so now we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary, and the rhetoric is even worse than before. They're telling many of people who look like me that my ancestors and me as a descendant benefited from them being in slavery. Like, that is not what we should be doing. We should not be pushing these hateful and harmful dog whistles. Like I stated before, at the end of the day, we all want the same things. Like, I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, NPA, Green Party, whatever. We all should have the opportunity to be healthy, prosperous, and safe, despite what zip code you live in, who you love, who you worship, what color you are. You should be able to thrive and not just surviving. Like, people are just surviving right now. And you have legislators that give $3 billion bailouts to property insurance companies, but don't want to provide any relief for consumers. And folks want me to be okay with that and to not push back on that when we have begged and we offered up good solutions to amendments to make sure that people had relief. And you want me to sit back and allow a guy and the governor to use his platform to run for president of the United States when he's neglected us, when he just recently vetoed nearly $1 billion, and some of that money would have gone towards ensuring we have quality infrastructure throughout our state when there's massive flooding. Like, no, I am not going to do that.
Let me take a quick call if we can. Just briefly, Wells on the South Side, go ahead.
Good morning, and good morning, Angie. First thing I want to say is thank you for opening the bookstore. We have to have that educational piece in our community. I want to thank you again for doing that. The second thing is, there's a campaign throughout the country to remove progressive people from politics. We've seen it happen twice now with large amounts of money coming in from different corporations So
Wells,
I
I'm
just
going to
want to
ask
say
you,
to you,
yeah, just if you can go a little faster. Thanks.
okay, I just want to say, hang in there, Angie. You got support, and we're behind you. Thank you very much, Em.
Yeah, thanks, Wells. Angie, this is going to be and is a divisive election,
Yes.
and it's splitting Democrats along some fairly difficult conversations. How, just very briefly, would you bring the district together?
Having conversations, right? And extending the olive branch after the election. At the end of the day, we just need to talk to people. You when you learn who they are, when you build relationships with people, you can hold them accountable in a loving way, in a respectful way. There's no more respect in politics, and we have to get back to that.
Well, Angie Nixon, thanks so much for being here. This is a race that will be decided in the August 20th primary. Appreciate it.
Thank you.